Hey folks, and welcome back to Petalburg Woods, where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Let's talk some Pokemon. As always, I am one of your lovely hosts, Droomish.
And I suppose I'm your other lovely host, Capreo. How you doing? Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show if you are a return listener. Thanks for coming back. If this is your first episode, hey, thanks for checking out Petalburg Woods.
Wow, that was really nice of you. What a wonderful intro.
You know, maybe there's new people. We don't know. Maybe they're new to the forest, right?
A warm welcome to you all.
To you all.
My parents, especially. Who I've been told will be joining us for the first time. I hope. As always, this is the show where we talk about Pokemon and the Pokemon games, but not exactly the games themselves, the world and people and culture surrounding the games and the way that they have affected us as individuals and each other through our relationships. It's really spiritual stuff. This Pokemon is, at the end of the day. I guess a quick, sort of life update from us. You know, where you've been with Pokemon recently, Capreo. What have you been doing? What have you been playing? I love this part. This is my favorite part.
Where we catch up and what we've been up to. I forget if I mentioned this last time, to be honest with you. The last episode that we did where we attempted to answer the question, Dustox, is it any good? So if you haven't checked out that episode, go back and listen.
Is it any good?
Is it any good?
It remains to be seen.
Maybe if you listen to that episode, then you'll find your answer. So I went to the Ruby Sapphire Battle Tower. I got the winning ribbon on my 3 ribbon masters in training, Charizard, Lapras,
nice work,
and Snorlax. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So the Emerald Gold symbol is still at large, but I think that's a task that I'm going to leave to the A team, the best Pokemon that we can possibly come up with and train. And because they're using, the most broken, cheaty shit that they can think of, so I'm gonna do the exact same thing right back at them. Otherwise, Sugimori the shiny Charizard defeated the champion in Pokemon Leaf Green, and has since moved on and conquered the Sevi Islands. And so I think the next thing for them, for Charizard, Lapras, and Snorlax, is they're going to do Mount Battle in XD Gale of Darkness for the Earth Ribbon. And they got some contests to do. And then they're pretty much done with Gen 3. They do got to go through the Battle Tower one more time for the Victory Ribbon in either open level in Emerald or the level 100 tower mode in Ruby and Sapphire. So one of those two things has to happen. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I think if I get him to 100 for Ruby Sapphire, that should also be a cakewalk similar to level 50. I don't think I'm counting my chickens or anything, because the first time through was wicked easy.
Counting your chickens, if you will.
Counting my Torchics. But yeah, that's what I've been up to Pokemon-wise. What have you been doing?
It's very technical. I've been working on my videos as I often do. Been playing Platinum a little bit. Yeah, Platinum. What a game!
What a game!
It's Platinum.
Yeah.
And
how far are you now in Platinum?
I believe I have 5 badges, maybe, at the point that I'm at.
Okay.
I'm doing a bit of research and exploration right now for a video. However, I was just really enjoying poking around. That was a lot of fun. and I'm like based in a hard home currently. Great place, everybody visit. Tourism is wonderful.
Do you ever do like Amity Square when you play Gen 4?
Of course.
Do you go in there?
Of course.
I find
it's all about it.
Yeah, I agree. I wish it wasn't as like limited as it is.
What's limiting about
just
do you take your dog for a walk or something and you say how limiting is this?
No.
I can't even accomplish quests out
but
here.
if you have a dog, you can take your dog for a walk because there's nothing stopping you. But Amity Park says no, your dog is not cute enough to be allowed in this establishment. The bouncer says, listen, sorry, you have to be this cute to ride the ride. So yeah, that's all I mean.
I agree with that.
I don't remember release wise which came out first between Platinum and Heart Gold Soul Silver, but
neither do I. However, Platinum lets you take in your starter, so there's really never a problem in Platinum.
Yeah, and a handful of other cute Pokemon.
I mean, they're fine. They're cute. Like they're biblically cute, if you will.
And
these Pokemon. It's a short list.
What do you think the deal is with like those like stone, like those ruin things in Amity Square that like you can teleport?
Oh, they were just feeling themselves. Like it really is just nonsense. I mean, I feel like it's clearly inspired from something. They very rarely will make true nonsense. That is like I think there's got to be some real appreciation for them when it comes to the nonsense. It's usually evocative or abstract. It's like an abstraction from some real thing or feeling. It's like a feeling that they wanted to capture or something. So I'm sure it comes from somewhere, but like there's no teleporting houses in real life. So I think of this big shock. I know there's no teleporting stone huts in parks that I know of, at least. Maybe write to us if you know of those, but I kind of just think they're feeling themselves. I do know that because this one has been talked about in Heart Gold and Soul Silver interviews, that the area was just for walking. So maybe they were just being fresh with it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoy walking, and I like seeing. I mean, yes, I should be playing Heart Gold and Soul Silver for this. Yeah, whatever. There's nothing new here. I'm in a park. If everything was fair, life would be Heart Gold and Soul Silver. But I still find it novel, and I enjoyed that most recently. And I hate to say it again, I really am enjoying VGC and talking VGC with people. I don't have one of those newfangled Switch 2s because I have life to pay for, unfortunately. But I'm sure it's lovely, but I am loving VGC, and that is a lot of fun. We're figuring stuff out in VGC still. I'm really enjoying watching matches. That's been a big thrill right now. And
cool.
Just a random streamer, don't know him, might not even be chatting. Sorry. I'm not a social Sandy or something like that. I don't know. I needed something. I like my alliteration. But just watching the thought process, it is fascinating. I love that stuff. So maybe my VGC arc is on the way. Maybe I can get up there with like Blunder or something. Blunder and Postgame and Mog. Just do some mogging on the stage. That'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be sick.
So we're getting more and more into VGC.
Yeah. Have you been playing VGC like in game at all?
Just a little bit. You know how certain theoretics and simulations can go when it comes to quickly drawing something up, maybe on your computer, but not that I know anything about that.
Maybe on a website.
Maybe on a website that is helpful for things like that. I have been playing some on my computer, and I know it's much later, but chronologically to when we record these, I did get second in my little tournament So that was pretty cool.
Congratulations.
Also, that I was in. Yeah, thank you. I think it was a big swing. I had a pretty awesome 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
Still riding that high. 2-0'd somebody. Life is good. Life is good. You 2-0 somebody one time, you don't have to sit at the kids' table anymore.
Uh-huh.
And that's where I've been with Pokemon.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, shall we?
Yeah, let's dig in.
Capreo. So, Capreo had kind of a thing for me this time. I mean, for everybody, but these are some of my favorite times when, he's got a great idea. I also think it's a great idea. And as to this idea goes, like, it's a great idea, but I haven't really thought about it yet, and he has. So I'm excited to tour along with him because, as we mentioned last time, we were discussing in no specific terms, very, very ambiguous here, what was the last great Pokemon game, with full answer interpretation on the table. I think that's important here.
Mm-hmm.
So, please, kick things off. I'm excited to discuss this one.
Well, you hear that question, and I assume the first thing that comes to mind is, well, what do you mean by great? Yeah,
what's great mean?
I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder. However, I think there are some things that we can get a lot of people to sort of like agree on being good qualities, good features of a Pokemon game.
Right. Okay.
Are you interested in an early in sort of my answer to this question? Like, do we just want to kind of rip off the Band-Aid and then maybe we can dig into it?
I guess with like good prefacing that could be helpful.
Okay.
I guess the preface that I want to give for this is that I think well, so in full disclosure, as of the time of right now, but like I have thoughts about it. Like, I don't really have an answer for this, but I think this is a really good question for kind of like the state of the community. I think the answer to this reveals a lot of things about a person, and just like the one that we're about to have, I think the conversation about this specific topic really reveals kind of what Pokemon does to you as a game, because we have so many examples to pick from, and we have such a winding while there is a through line, we have such a winding river to go along with it. And I think this is a real big point of maybe contention, also much more so connection to me. This is kind of that human element, our interpretation. So he asks us, like, oh, what was the last really good one? Then the goalposts have changed just ever so slightly, where you really have to reveal your whole hand with a question like this. Like, you can't just say, oh, I like Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Right.
Okay.
Because that was a long time ago.
You're not like other girls, I know. But what was the last really, really great one?
I don't think we have to go that far back.
Okay.
Because how many Pokemon games are there on the Nintendo Switch? There's a Let's Go game. There's a lot, right? There's a Let's Go games. There's Sword and Shield. There's Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. There's Legends Arceus, and there's Scarlet and Violet, right? Would we consider all of those mainline? Not that really matters, okay? And then
it doesn't matter for this question.
Yeah, and then there's a handful of Pokemon spin-offs also on Switch. There's Pokken Tournament, I think oft forgotten. There's
that one's great. That's a great game.
Mystery Dungeon.
That's a great game.
Remake. That's a great game. There's new Pokemon Snap. Gorgeous game.
It's fun.
And then a whole bunch of games that didn't receive like a physical release, but like live service games. You've got your Pokemon
Cafe
Unite,
Remix.
Cafe Remix, Game of the Year, every single year running ever since it launched. Remix. For me, I said that we don't have to go that far back. For me, the last great Pokemon game was Legends Arceus, because I had so much fun discovering that game for the first time, and it made me feel like a kid again. And I think the way
wow.
that they made catching in particular, like a real-time thing where you could aim a ball in the overworld and throw it at a guy, just like reignited, like conceptually what Pokemon could be. So I'm extremely excited for Legends ZA because Arceus was so strong, and ZA, it seems, is going to further iterate on moving and like kind of like the role play, the imagination of you being a Pokemon trainer, with them changing the way that battles are going to happen in ZA, makes me very optimistic for just like basically the fantasy that we've had since we were kids of Pokemon being real and us getting to be honest to goodness Pokemon trainers. And I feel like as much as the menu-based, turn-based combat is such a part of Pokemon's identity, and I love it so much, and it lends itself really well to things like VGC, for instance, that becomes such like a strategic abyss of potential and possibilities. But for playing through a story, I feel Legends Arceus kind of like grabbed and then held my attention in that regard, more than most Pokemon games have in recent memory. So for me, Legends Arceus is the last great Pokemon game.
That's great news.
I feel
like we have a...
Do you like... Do you disagree with that notion? Because only really one game has released since, and it's Scarlet Violet. And so it's sort of like saying that Legends Arceus was the last great one is kind of saying that Scarlet Violet wasn't particularly great, but
Violet was doo-doo. Uh-oh.
But the thing about Scarlet Violet is that like it's really close. You know what I mean? It's really close. Okay,
sure.
But anyway, yeah, what do you think of
It's fine.
What do you think of that?
I like your assessment. I mean, I don't necessarily feel like, because I was the only other thing that I wanted to ask was like, and of course I want to get into this, what makes great, and you just told me what makes great for you.
But that's like specific to Legends Arceus,
Well, I guess I felt like I got a real glimpse with what you said about like, being the trainer, the childlike exploration. This is at the heart of great Pokemon, right?
That's what I'm after.
Right. So I kind of I'm picking up what you're putting down with that. That maybe those are not the only criteria, but those are two pretty big criteria for a great game, or for a great Pokemon game. I guess not all games can be Pokemon though, but they can be great. The essential component of the trainer, that is like, I guess that's kind of something that you have to decide for yourself very early, and I guess they're to a lot of earlier games credit. I'm gonna say, like, because we're old now, I guess. Sorry, us. Like, sorry to say that, Capreo and Droomish. We're getting over the hill. The mid-generation games, I really feel like they give you everything. Or there's an honest attempt to give you so many different things, and that has often influenced what I think of greatness, and the experience of the trainer is so clearly in view. I think that the experience of the trainer is so the catching, like you said, is and maybe a sore spot, maybe with you, maybe with the lovely viewers out there, but like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, that is a buffet of experiences that gives a lot of priority to a lot of different ways of life, and there's some real greatness might be too it's too vague for what I'm trying to describe here, but I get the walks of life are captured. Does this make sense, what I'm saying about it?
Yeah, you've said before that you love a Pokemon game with extracurriculars, right?
Of course.
And
But I guess even further to that point is you can't just be random nonsense. Or I mean, I guess it could be random nonsense, but the world has to care just as much as I do. There has to be some real back and forth, and something there. I was, while pleasant, while fun, something that falls short of greatness for me, versus the pictures they were able to paint about it is like. Gen 3 contests are not the magnum opus they could have been, and the material like the anime painted them to be. That is fun and good. This is not great because of a lack of complexity and a level of engagement that I gave that I would say was not entirely reciprocated. We did not go band for band, as you would say. So I'm very, very invested in. I mean, Pokemon is such a world, also, that this ways of life thing. Like, I can really accept any way of life when it comes to Pokemon. I mean, obviously there should be some Pokemon involved. That sounds pretty good to me if it's a Pokemon game, but as long as the way of life gives back what I'm putting in. Like what's on the billboard, I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks like so much fun. I'm going to play it. And then it gives my energy back to me. It's good, whatever it is. I'm conflicted though about Arceus now that you bring it up, honestly, because I don't think the Scarlet and Violet really nailed this either. I'm not going to say it's just again, it's such a great question because, oh man, Arceus is great, but great Pokemon game. I don't know if I can give it to Arceus for me because I need, and this is the tiny simple little banner that I'm putting on it. I can talk all day about this. I need a post game of substance, and that goes a long way. And I almost found Arceus not to be a Pokemon game in some ways.
Yep.
It was very unfamiliar for me, and I think I digested it in a different way. I did not find the team, the way that teams work, was ultimately satisfying. Very different than what I was used to.
What do you mean by that? Like your party of 6?
My party of 6, it was constantly changing. I found it very difficult to lock in, so to speak. Like, I don't know, I've got a Chimchar at the beginning or something like that, and getting Chimchar where it needs to be to fight the wild, scarce bosses was like just not in my best interest, right? Like I should just use the Alpha Gudra that they gave me in the story, because otherwise I'm going to be here forever doing something that isn't fun. And also the point of this is not that. Also, I think that's where like the actual big shift is happening that makes me feel like this is almost something different. Is you kind of get a Pokemon, I think, does this so well. I guess maybe there's like levels of attunement for this or something, but and they do love to let you know when you're playing the game wrong. So I often feel like, oh, this is the point. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. The path of least resistance is this, because they're letting me know through all these various ways I should be doing it this way. And so yeah, this ultimately, this ABC routing here made me feel like I should just be grabbing whatever the strongest thing is in front of me and kicking team members into the pasture constantly. Just not, even in these mid to late season games like Gen 6 through 8, where the XP share is always on and you can kind of swap teammates, the team is a very holy thing in Pokemon. I almost completely attach the idea of the team to what Pokemon is, and this is very present in like pop Pokemon media. Also, everybody's got a signature guy, right? Like Masters EX, for instance, which I think is very, while maybe on the more obscure side in the grand scheme of things, I think Masters EX is a very strong snapshot of what Pokemon culture is, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And very, very indicatively, every trainer has a mascot. Everyone is given a partner. The idea of the best friend, or the in that game you fight in threes, that is holy to Pokemon. That is a holy process. I think being pushed by the games themselves pretty strongly, but also just you eventually come to experience them that way. And I did feel very, I don't know, lonely almost going through Arceus as far as what I was expecting. So I really don't want to not say that it was great, because man, that is a great game that really pushed the envelopes. Many envelopes were pushed, but it almost became something completely different. I'm in the camp that Legends is the side game, and XD and Coliseum are the mainline games. But not my job, I guess.
I mean, maybe we can make that like another episode, is like, where's the line?
Oh yeah, the side games.
Yeah.
I could talk for a long time about mainline side game. Yeah, they're very fond of that. But all this is to say, so I think, I need to be a better critic. I'm trying to get better about this. I either just say stuff is scale of 1 to 10. If I ultimately didn't like it, 1, bad, for pathetic reasons. And if I thought it was pretty good, 10. I thought it was pretty good,
right?
10.
You have a hard time giving something a 6.
I have a really hard time giving something a 6, but with those 6s also comes lenses, and Pokemon game, Arceus is getting, as a Pokemon game, as I consume them and judge them, Arceus is getting like a 5 or a 6, honestly. But as a game that I played and had the wherewithal at the time, and I think like my sense of criticism that I'm describing, to just say this is a game that I can enjoy and not force my ideals of what Pokemon is. I think that's a big thing too. People are, not that there's anything wrong with that necessarily, but you might have more fun if you don't force an idea of what a game should be on a game, instead of just playing it. So, but just as a game, Arceus is getting like 9, 8.5. There's very little wrong with it as a mystery story. I thought that was a very compelling component of it. And some of these maybe less explored aspects of the Pokemon world, but not what I was expecting from the game. Oh, the catcher. Oh, the catcher. The collector was really on full display in a way that was never before the case for me. And I really hope that's the same in ZA. But I mean, I gotta be nitpicky, because I'm trying to be a good critic for myself and everybody behind me. It was not my last great Pokemon game.
Yeah, I have my issues with Legends as well, primarily with how long the tutorial takes, and then a lot of the story stuff and the writing in the game. Honestly, I mash through a lot of that dialogue. Broadly speaking, like the big kind of story beats of the game, I think there are some cool ideas. The twist at the end is fun, and especially the point in time that they chose to set the game in is fascinating, and I think it's very cool that ZA is a little bit in the future from the events of X and Y, but I would love to see them take larger jumps in time, either in the past or in the future. But I think particularly in the past, just because it is really fascinating to see how Game Freak decides to depict.
Oh yeah,
the past.
That's just culture.
Yeah, Yeah,
that's like this is such Pokemon culture. We were shown so much culture in Arceus. It's kind of unbelievable, and it's gonna be different in ZA. But like just the cause and effect of going from like your canvas was present into future, I think it's gonna be really really interesting, but it is less well. I don't know. I'm looking for an exact word here, but the causal element of Arceus was so interesting. These are the whys. These are the whys. We can't why something in the future. It'd be challenging to why something as often as they did with Arceus. So that's getting like 10 tenths from me on this culture you're describing. I have to speak positively about the culture, and that's maybe, I don't know, not a rare thing even, but almost stand out for me. Not even something I was expecting. I mean, it's called Legends, so maybe I should have been expecting it more, but the extent to which is like, wow, y'all outdid yourselves in a way that I wasn't even expecting to get in this medium. How fantastic. And but so like expectations, right? That's a whole again, so like to this question, I feel like you just described so well of these were I don't know, maybe I'm slow in some ways when it comes to getting this stuff, but those are pretty big surprises, the things that you just said. We hadn't had Legends before, right? And I don't know, what kind of stuff were you expecting going into Legends, as far as and maybe a criteria here, because you're saying it's the last great one. We want them to be great. I think like the release structure, that's something we have to talk about here. Like we can't not address this elephant in the room, because there's so many expectations on release.
Yeah.
And I think it's uniquely important to talk about Arceus, because it was a totally new chapter in Pokemon. So what were people expecting? What were you expecting?
I mean, I was expecting like more of an adventure, more discoverability, and I think I got that by and large. And yeah, like I think going into a brand new Pokemon game, I feel like your bar is already, at least for me, it's like more on the side of like optimism, where I am already sort of giving this game like a passing, if not like a A plus of like a score. Just because I like having the mindset of like this is gonna be shit is gonna influence how you feel as you play it. So if you have this more optimistic mindset going in from the outset, then that is going to ideally help you have a better time playing the brand new thing. So yeah, managing expectations. And with Pokemon, I think expectations are so tricky, because you were saying earlier how everyone has sort of like their ideal version of what a Pokemon game should be. And there's so many cooks in the proverbial kitchen in that regard, where different people have different ideas about difficulty,
it's a big discourse,
or various mechanics, etc. I think features,
options,
yeah, all that stuff. I mean, I gave a whole diatribe about experience share. That's a preference, you know? So if a game, again, like any modern game that I'm playing that has experience share on party wide, like that's part of that game. And so you just kind of got to like accept that, right? But going into Arceus, I just remember like the promise of it being something new, and then wanting so badly for it to be something genuinely new. And then it was, to a degree, right? Like the catching, absolutely. Even though they maintained, like you could still go into a battle against a guy, and then turn by turn, you could still menu to a Pokeball and throw it the old fashioned way, which is nice, honestly, for people who are like used to that, to maintain that. But I cannot overstate how much more immersive and just fun, just plain fun, just like throwing a ball at a Wurmple is when it takes half a second versus the 30 seconds of like going into a turn-based menu-based thing. So yeah, I think like they had shown, I think particularly one of the most like striking things and one of the like kind of headlines that was surrounding Arceus around its release was the Dark Souls of Pokemon, because there was simply a dodge roll and wild Pokemon could attack you. And that seemed like neat to me. That was never, I feel like now when I play that game, that's like more of an inconvenience than anything, but it does like paint the world, at least at the time, as like, you know, Pokemon are less understood. They're less domesticated, obviously, even though like
they're more violent.
They're more violent
creatures of wrath,
right?
That hate people.
But there, and then there's also like among humans, there's this like fear based on misunderstanding about them, and so like the whole Pokedex aspect of that game also leading towards like I think one of the coolest parts of that game is that you can catch Pokemon and then give them permanently to some of the NPCs in Jubilife Village. That was one of the best decisions they could have possibly made as far as like selling the idea of what this game is you are tasked with helping humans understand these creatures on a more fundamental level, and you are like an instrumental cog in helping people and Pokemon like coexist. That was fascinating. And it is just like through these like simple little like side missions and stuff, when there's that guy outside the headquarters who's like who has the Wurmple evolve into a Cascoon, and he's like, I can't wait to see this evolve into a Beautifly. That's funny. And yeah, I don't know, there's just a few of those instances, but like people kind of discover like, oh, like there's someone who asks you for like a heavy Pokemon, or maybe specifically a rock type at least, to help them like hold down a lid or something very simple. There's something like that, yeah. There's like a farm, and they're like, you know, tilling the soil and everything, and they're like, man, we could really use some extra hands around here. So you catch them a couple of Pokemon to help out on the farm, and they're like, oh, these little guys, hey, they can be helpful. Wow, isn't that fascinating? So I think just providing that additional, again, like that additional context to the world sold the feeling and the task that you had as the player, and so that was all. Like, I think a big part of every video game ever, but you know, especially Pokemon games, is how effective they are at contextualizing things in the world, in universe. Like in Arceus, I think the distortion, the space-time distortions. I mean, yeah, Dialga and Palkia,
yeah, that was cool,
can control time and space, so that kind of contextualizes letting you in the past have access to Pokemon like Magnemite and Porygon, and so that was to me like a smart way to contextualize having those Pokemon exist in this distant past. All of that to say, like, I think I really appreciate the swings they took with Arceus, and I really appreciate the kind of direction that it's given, and kind of this like newfound like hope I have for the series. Not that I like dislike the main games. I enjoyed Scarlet and Violet well enough, but again, I think they missed on too many things for me to think that they're great, which is a bummer.
Yeah, they're fine. They're pretty good. Can't give them great either.
Mm-hmm.
What makes a game not great? Great segue.
That is a great segue. Wow.
Because I know, like, it's hard for me to say what my last great one is.
Mm-hmm.
And I am just, purely on, like, I'm selfish. It's my great game. You can have your own great game.
Yeah.
I guess, tell me about it, but don't call me on my own great game. Arceus is just my own, is clouded by my own expectations. Everything you just said was great, and I loved it, and I'm loving it all over again, especially that contextualization. I think it's probably going to come up again soon, because I'm really thinking about that now.
Mm-hmm.
But not great. Things that are not great.
Mm-hmm.
I just off the top of my head, not to beat on Arceus too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can come up with some stuff from some other games, but again, and when I pay for it, it doesn't count. I need a post game, and because here's why. It's not just I need post game. I need post game. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I do find obnoxious, and people scream about constantly. It's like, oh, old game had post game, new game no post game. Here's my full circle on that.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose is because Pokemon is a world, and that is the most important thing to me. Pokemon must be a world. They have shown me at every corner, every time I experience Pokemon. Like in real life, I guess, a TV show, even just a picture, an art piece that they have posted on their Instagram or something.
Mm-hmm.
Pictures and information from the world. The full conveyance is that this is a world that people live in. It is not a game abstraction. It is not a game space. Everything is culture. Like that famous picture where the guy is letting his Squirtle play with his phone on the way to work on the subway.
Mm-hmm.
This is a world that is culture. And so when I go into this game and the whole thing is just the hero's journey,
mm-hmm.
I don't get to live. I don't get to live inside of that world.
Right.
There is a world around me. However, I have been pigeonholed into the snapshot of it where you are the hero on the quest who has to go save the day.
Mm-hmm.
And that kills a lot for me
Mm-hmm.
because I don't ever get that sense of timelessness from the main journey. And a lot of times when I'm playing Pokemon games, while I love the main story and I love that journey, especially on the second or third or whatever playthrough, I like these games a very normal amount, you could say, is like I am gunning for that post game. And post game it's not just like a second set of quests either. I almost feel like people are misdescribing the thing that they want because it is just life after the journey.
Mm-hmm.
This is not it's not a sandbox, especially when I think some games I think are very guilty of this and that are universal acclaim. Gens 4, 5, and even 3 to a certain extent. 3 is probably the least offender of this, but they are terrible about letting you live in the world. There is always some crisis or nonsense that you have to deal with, and especially when I play them now, and I don't know why I'm doing this now that I'm older, but like, I don't know, I think especially in Diamond and Pearl's case, Team Galactic contextually, they're doing some pretty crazy stuff, right? And the gym challenge is one thing. But I do wonder, is like, why do I have to do the gyms? Why do I have to deal with Candace before I can, I don't know, like, go to a town? I'm not gonna try to contextualize this to real life. It's just silly. It's just silly. If I couldn't go to my neighbor's house, for instance, or like I couldn't visit my friend after school until I have accomplished some goalpost, I would be incredulous. I would not be able to fathom how this world works. But most importantly, the stuff with Team Galactic, I just think now is like, this is really weird. Where are the authorities? Where is like why do I have to deal with this? More importantly, why am I not like? But it's almost in some. I think this is maybe even something that could be appreciated about them, because then because of my thinking mind just keeps analyzing. Are you familiar with? These are the only two examples I have in the chamber. I don't even know the name of this trope, but either Buffy or Sailor Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And just this idea of like the unwilling hero of, I mean, in their case, like they're both girls. They just want to live their life and be girls, especially Usagi, and
they're
they have all this nonsense to deal with.
Yeah, they're like the victims of circumstance.
Right. They've been chosen by life to be these heroes, and then I was thinking about that, like in Diamond and Pearl. I was like, wow, I'm like Sailor Moon right now. Like, is that good enough recontextualization? Because Professor Rowan, who is much like an obnoxious cat, has decided that I must be the hero. I'm on the journey, and like life chose me, type of thing.
And Looker is Tuxedo Mask.
Kind of, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, exactly. But then I take it in even more, and it's like that moment on SpongeBob where I'm like, this is a load of barnacles. That doesn't make any sense. That's not what Pokemon is. Like, I could gaslight myself a little bit and be like, yeah, like life does give its strongest challenges to its weakest soldiers for some reason. Like, oh, there's some real wisdom here, but that's just not played up at all in I don't know. I mean, the specifics of this really do not matter. I almost feel like going into the tedium would weaken my point here. With this, there's just the stuff going on in Gens 4 and 5 is so, it's fun and it's exciting and it's an adventure, but oh my goodness, your life in this world is fully taken away from you, and that sucks. I don't like that, because I had friends also that would brag to me, especially like Diamond and Pearl. I think I might have mentioned in a previous episode, Noah.
Old Noah, back again.
Old Noah. This is not good Noah, but also not bad Noah. Let's say this is fine Noah.
Okay.
He's medium Noah.
Pure neutral
medium
Noah.
True neutral Noah. He was fine. Liked bragging to me. And I remember very specifically one time he's like, yeah, like I ran Pearl in 12 hours. I ran it down in 12 hours. And we're in 4th grade. We are little. And he's really happy that it ran it down in 12 hours. And I didn't even know why at the time. I'm like 9 or something. And it made me sad. It was like, okay, for one, I really struggle. So like maybe there's a part of this where you're just being mean to me. But what do you do in those 12 hours? Because I assume you're just rushing back and forth from A to B. And that's not what they told me this would be. And again, it's that expectation setting, because that's why I mention all the extraneous media, because it's like in the TV show, Ash gets to live. Ash, it's so frustrating with Ash. It's like, oh my gosh, Ash is going to spend 100 episodes before we go to the 3rd gym after the 2nd gym. There's a lot of space in between those two. But slice of life appreciators rejoice. Ash is living. Ash is just living life in the Pokemon world, and that's why the show is so good and so beautiful. And then I go to the game, and it's like you really have to kind of fight against the tide in Gen 4 and Gen 5. One very specific that I will beat on, because I don't hear hardly enough hate for this. I am a hater at the end of the day. I'm a signed, sealed hater.
Okay, here we go.
Pinwheel Forest in Black and White is one of the worst experiences in all of Pokemon. I fully hate going into Pinwheel Forest because it's like this shady twilight forest. There's a river running through it. There is a bridge running over the river. There are 2 paths. There's a scenic route and there is a forest route. And Castelia Bridge is right around the corner. However, on your first time visiting the forest, it's terrible. And they conscript you into running around and dealing with the Team Plasma grunts, and you're getting stopped every 5 seconds by the grunts. And I have never, until I guess kind of in Black 2 and White 2, I never felt like I got to enjoy that scene. And first impressions matter. First impressions matter when it comes to a location. When it comes to a physical landscape that is and like it had like these ups and downs. And there's people jumping out, and there's a lot of really interesting shaking grass Pokemon in there for all you deep knowers. But so much of it is blocked off. You are sent an exact certain way through story contrivance. You have to fight somebody every 5 steps, and I leave it so angry. I left it so frustrated. I leave it so frustrated every time I play that game because my life, as it were, the lackadaisical life was completely stripped from me. So, not great when they do that. That's my big not great. When the life is taken from you. That's one of my big not greats. This is a very long point to say, please just let me live.
Yeah.
Because you said that I would get to live. Your advertising told me I would get to live.
Some people would look at the things that you like appreciate in a game that help you feel like a part of a world and help you feel like you're living and you're whimsical and you're not necessarily being led from one thing to the next. Expectation wise, there are, I think, other people who are like so the opposite, and they're only really there for the hero's journey, and everything else is fluff or fat that like they're just,
I know.
they don't even want to like interface with. Like I think about you were talking about like how Ash gets to live in the show, and so much of that is just like him, Misty, and Brock like sitting down and having a meal. And I was like, what games could you do that in? And I was like, Sword and Shield, you could like make some curry and then you and your Pokemon can enjoy that, and that's really nice. And that's not a feature that I like ever. Same thing with Scarlet and Violet making sandwiches. Like that stuff is there, and I think if I guess like if that helps you feel more immersed and feel like you're more a part of the world, it's great that like it's great that it exists in the game, but it is not often part of the games that I tend to interface with. Like I'm only making Pokeblocks in Gen 3 when I have some ribbon masters to get ribbons, right? Like there is a mission for me. I'm not often making Pokeblocks kind of for the love of the game.
I'm making them when I'm bored, honestly.
Yeah.
I was doing like that mini game scratched an itch for me when I was little. Like Ruby, oh my goodness, Ruby. There was a fascination with it because that one in particular, like I don't know, it's so. I like that you brought that up so much because there was such a fascination in that mundane that like I would say this is great. Oh my goodness, there's mechanics being applied to making snacks. Oh my goodness. And that the same is true for obviously for sandwiches. I feel like they almost like jumped the shark in a weird way with sandwiches because sandwiches is such a mechanical thing, right? Like you are making food, something that like the only mission that you I guess you could have a couple of different missions, but like when I'm making food, it's like like the mission is to eat, and it's gonna be a pretty good time. Like lunch. This is awesome. And it's like the Yakuza text goes on screen. Eat the lunch. I'm like, this is amazing. What a great mission. But it's... I mean, it's still driven, but it's... I don't know, not...
I'm not making sandwiches
it's not a battle.
in Scarlet and Violet to make a good-looking sandwich or a sandwich that I think my guy and my team like tastes good or whatever. I'm making a sandwich because it gives me level 3 dragon sparkling power. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's all I'm here for. But I did play whenever I get on the Sword and Shield, and because frequently I'm looking for interesting or exciting shots that I can take, and it's just where the YouTube videos take me. The campsite. Oh my goodness, the campsite is it really is spectacular.
really...
The curry minigame is good.
Yeah.
Like, it's fully good. There are mechanics to it. I know it's complicated, and I've
Mm-hmm.
only seen it successful a couple times, but you can curry hunt.
Mm-hmm.
You can do shiny hunts with the curry somehow,
Mm-hmm.
which don't even try to explain to me. I'm not going to listen. Like, sorry. Like, I'm not... This is not information for me. It's too complicated and it looks too hard, so I'm closed off to it. I'm closed-minded. But it's still interesting
Mm-hmm.
that you can do that and game it in some way.
Mm-hmm.
That is fully great. And so I don't extracurriculars, like this maybe this is like another oversimplification. I say that those are great. Like that's because I want to communicate to you. It's like, oh, what do you look for in a Pokemon game? I would say extracurriculars. I don't have the 2-hour-long podcast to describe. Well, when I say extracurriculars, I actually mean a world that you can live inside that has the ability to interface with parts of life that aren't just the mission that you're on and that are questing for, because I live a rich and vivid life, and that's what makes me feel alive, is that I am engaging with multiple parts of it, and so on and so forth. So I say I want extracurriculars instead. That's like the fog in my brain, and it spits out a single word so that people maybe know the delusion that I'm describing. So that's a great. I guess I ended up describing a great, but these like there's so many ways to be not great about that can interface with the mission. Is like in Pinwheel Forest is like it's like a straightforward linear part of the game. Is like, oh my goodness, stop stopping me, like, oh my goodness, these constant roadblocks. So any of this anti-living nonsense is not great for me.
I think some of the other things about Pokemon games that make them not as great, for me, I find sometimes the story of a Pokemon game can get in the way. And this probably also comes back to me not always interfacing with a lot of the extracurricular stuff. Is like I feel like now, especially as I'm older, I don't have a ton of patience for if I feel like something is kind of wasting my time. And unfortunately I feel that way about Pokemon stories nowadays. I probably would have given them like more time or been more patient with them when I was younger, when frankly I had fewer things to do. But also Pokemon stories used to be a lot more simple, and I think ever since, I mean, Shigeru Omori took over for Sun and Moon, and I think maybe his first outing was like the Delta episode on Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And so I believe director Omori kind of revolutionized like I don't know, these kind of larger than life stories in Pokemon games where, I mean, the Delta episode is pretty fantastical. Sun and Moon introduced fucking aliens and ultra wormholes and shit.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So
life is crazy,
and they're great ideas. Like when like I think broadly speaking, like I'm not saying that like Ultra Beasts or any of that stuff is inherently a bad thing. A lot of the issues for me, I think, with Pokemon games are just how often you get like interrupted, and this was also the case in Arceus. Again, particularly like early in Arceus, I think that game takes a really long time to let you like play yourself. But yeah, I think I don't know. I wish they would just kind of get out of the way a bit more often and kind of let you discover your things on your own more often. And at least like they do in recent games, they've added basically like a glossary system, and it's deep in the settings, but there are like all of the tutorials basically that you encounter while you play, you can go back and find at a later time. I kind of wish they like made that I I made the player more aware that was accessible, and because of that, basically said to the player, if you want to know more about this, you can go read about it yourself. We'll give you a quick summary, and then we'll kind of let you on your way. If you are interested in like really like getting into these mechanics, there's all this stuff you can read. Instead, it's just they will give you the full tutorial, and then you can, if you wanted to reread it, if in case you forget or whatever, then you can go back and find it. But I kind of wish like I don't know, that they expedited tutorials, that they had there. I forget which game it was. There was one game where they actually asked you like, yes or no, do you know how this works already? And then when you said yes, they actually skipped something. And I think more of,
unlike the Pokegear, which no matter what you answer to, your mom explains it to you anyways.
I don't think, but I'm thinking of a recent Pokemon game. I don't remember which one it was, but legitimately they asked you that
they
question,
let you skip,
and you could say yes, and they would let you skip. I think more of that going forward, because there's so many adults, so many people who've played Pokemon games, so many people who know how all of this shit works already. Like, please
you're just saying, I know how it works.
Yeah.
Also, like, it's a question. Yeah. It's a question.
Yeah, exactly.
Just bothered to ask.
Give more of that option of, like, if it's a brand new thing, like Scarlet and Violet introduces terrestrialization, yeah, you should probably have someone explain briefly what that is and how it works. But for the rest of the shit that we've been doing for almost 30 years, just a quick yes or no, so I can say, yes, I know how this works already. And then when I do say yes, don't explain it anyway. I wish I could remember the specific example that I'm thinking of like the game and the question. But I was so impressed when it happened, because I was like, fuck, this needs to happen so much more often in, like, not just in these games either, like in every game. Just like let a player, especially in a series, right? Like, your long running, like your Final Fantasies or like whatever, right? Like don't continue to explain the same shit over and over to the people who've been playing your series for a long time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So this is something that makes it not great. This is...
Yeah.
Can you put a bow on it?
Can you
put a bow on this?
All of that to say, I think, like, their broad ideas are fun and interesting. It's a lot of the, like, fluff in between that I don't love and I don't pay attention to anymore.
Okay.
And just generally, like, over tutorialization.
Yeah. It's just sludge in your game.
Sludge is a good way to put it.
Got some good sludge.
And I understand that, like,
not great.
There's a wide range of ages of, people playing these games, and not everyone has played a Pokemon game before. And if they're playing the brand new one and it's their first one, and they're not going to know what's going on, because honestly, like, talking about Pokemon now is like talking about the English language. Like, you and I know it really well, but someone learning English for the first time, like, English has so many specifics and rules that actually aren't
right
totally true across the board. And that, I think, is also true for Pokemon. Like, there's a type chart, but then also Orthworm has an ability so that it's immune to ground. So all, like, specific stuff like that. Anyway, there's a lot to digest nowadays with 1,025 Pokemon and all of the moves and abilities, etc., that come with that. But you also, I don't know that you even necessarily need to, like, get to just simply play through the story of a new Pokemon game. I don't know that you even really need to know most of the stuff. I think you can really just get by on, like, the basics. Am I wrong?
I mean, no, because people have always been doing that. People have been doing that since the days of yore.
Right.
And you can just click tackle the entire game and
eventually you'll be fine.
a real tutorial. But yeah, the game hard tutorializes you. You touched on it. It's really I mean I feel like we're both being pretty holistic here, and this is probably maybe the most subjective one of all, is like, what place does a story have in a great Pokemon game, and and you made a great point earlier that made me think of, is like, I don't know, like people want something like completely opposite. So it's something that I like almost can't tear my eyes away from, and it's not anybody in specific, any specific streamer, but like I will come across. I have my Twitch knows that I want to watch Pokemon, and I go on Twitch. It's time to watch something, and it's 3:45 a.m. So nobody that I actually know is streaming, but we got all the Pokemon fellas in Australia or whatever are taking care of business, and a spreadsheet simulator comes on, and this is invigorating stuff for the spreadsheet simulators. And what I mean by spreadsheet simulator is that these are people playing difficulty mods in some way, shape, or form of a Pokemon game. But ultimately, what this seems to boil the game down to, or the gameplay loop, if you will, is preparing for the next fight. You're in a permanent cycle of preparing for the next fight, and after that fight, getting the next encounter, if there is one, and adding another tool to your toolbox. And it's almost like a boss rush of strategy. It's like a chess boss rush. And this requires no story. This is story is out the window. Story is non-existent in this structure. Ambiance is out the window in this structure. And, presumably, these are the people often advocating for Pokemon games to be harder. They are playing a difficulty mod, after all. But, and while that is not my cup of tea, I cannot say that it doesn't work, is the thing. And, even more confusingly to me, I look at this and I'm like, well, like, this is Pokemon. I hate to say it, but this is very much what Pokemon is. This is one of the things that I imagine, and I think maybe the common element is this in this. So something that, and why, like, it's not that it makes Arceus not great or anything, but something that just makes Pokemon is the team battle of it all, and that strategy, whether your strategy is clicking tackle every turn, or we are in the throes of Kaizo game theory. This is something that is very Pokemon. This is a core, if you will. But story almost at the same time defines it, and can be antithetical to what it is. So, I mean, obviously, but it violently circumstantial and personal assessment at this point. A bad story. Like, obviously, nobody wants a bad story. But what is a bad story? I don't think we really know what a bad story is, or at least we couldn't put it in a bottle or like scientifically define the bad story. But nobody wants a bad story. But in terms of story, I don't know. Are there any things that we can put, any titles, labels, ideas that we can put on a story that pushes it towards great or not great? And maybe even it's just, I want less story. I want story out of I want, like you were saying, maybe story out of my way. Story out of my way could be big. So yeah, tell me any structure or idea that you can put them in. What empirical categories and assessments can we give to story in Pokemon? What makes the good? What makes the bad? Or what makes the good and the bad of lack of story removal?
I think some of the best Pokemon stories are like the ones where it feels like, I don't know. I think when it feels like you're actually doing something, or when it feels like you're actually, because I don't know, sometimes the stories are so big and so beyond you that, like, yeah, you're going through fights and you're encountering the evil team, whatever, but like the events are happening whether you're there to do something about it or not. I feel like the simplicity of the Kanto story, for instance, and particularly like all of your run-ins with Team Rocket, it does feel like you are putting a stop to something, and that feels very empowering. And I feel like that's similar in Johto, even though like by the time you do get to the radio tower, like they have basically succeeded and they did take over the radio tower. So you weren't, I don't know, as the hero, you weren't totally successful in thwarting them like before that point, but at least at that point you do become successful. But I don't know. I just feel like any instance where it feels like you're actually having an impact and you're not just sort of like along for the ride. And then when there's such a lack,
we call this agency in the games industry.
Yeah.
We'll give that the label of agency, and that's great. I think agency is everything.
Mm-hmm. And then the opposite, I think, is when it feels like there isn't really like you could leave and everything would be fine, you know? Like you.
When did that happen? Like just.
I just think. I don't know.
I kind of think Cynthia could have figured all that stuff out. Honestly.
Sure. I mean, Cynthia was like beat you to the punch to the distortion world, right? Like she was in there.
Right.
First.
I was just thinking about that. It's like in Diamond and Pearl, she's a little more removed, but in Platinum, like she's there. Mm-hmm. She's at the portal and she's like, no, I was too late. It's like, what do you mean you were too well, you weren't necessarily even too late. It's like what? Why was I early? Type of thing.
Sure.
Like, you're the one with the Garchomp. Can you go? Can you deal with this type of stuff? And I like the story of those games pretty well, but it feels like an unraveling that you're not even a part of. Mm-hmm. Like you beat the Team Galactic run, and then they still fire the bomb off at Lake Valor.
Right.
You go to the next lake, and you beat everybody there. You stomp them, and Mars's team is a joke, and you can't stop them. Same thing happens with Saturn. The same thing happens with Red Chain. Same thing happens with Giratina. Right? Yeah, it's like, oh my god, like what am I even fighting for? It's like something. Like it almost reinforces that the fights don't matter. Like they're criminals. And
something they often use as a bit of a crutch, I guess, to sort of contextualize like why are our dogs fighting when why can't I just like walk away and go pick up the thing that you're trying to steal or whatever. So many of the evil teams will say like, I distracted you for long enough, or I wasted enough of your time so that my associates could deal with the thing while I was holding you up with my big skunk. And that's
Team Galactic's calling card.
Right.
Also, you said big skunk for a reason.
Yeah. Stinky. But I don't feel negatively about the Sinnoh story for whatever reason. Like, even though we are coming up with, I think, these pretty reasonable, like, things against it, I don't know. I think of Sinnoh fondly, and I don't really have any issues with Team Galactic. I do in Platinum.
Yeah, like it's fine.
Yeah, in Platinum they introduced that other character, Charon or whatever. What was his deal? Why was he there?
He's just I don't know, almost like maybe meta commentary on the whole thing. I'm pretty sure his deal is that he saw what Team Galactic was capable of and just wanted to take advantage of it for personal gain.
Almost like a Colress situation. Sort of,
but even less inspired than Colress.
Yeah,
like he saw even though Cyrus is like, it kind of, it's like I'm fairly certain that he saw Cyrus as this like impassioned, driven leader who could move a nation, essentially, and said, "Oh, I'm going to take advantage of that to just like it for money and power."
Sure.
Yeah, and he goes around and I guess his big play is with Heatran. It's not the most inspiring thing in the world, but at least it keeps some sort of conflict going that late in the game.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, it does give them a little bit more of a presence on the post-game island. But yeah, I don't know. I was thinking of, I guess, the Sword and Shield story, and I think particularly, like, you do have to, like, stop the whole Chairman Rose thing, and then Eternatus with one of the dogs, depending on the game you have.
That one actually makes me mad. I go on a huge tirade about that. I hate that.
Okay.
I think.
Do you wanna?
I think not to be like podcaster Meowth here or anything, but Chairman Rose, him being treated by the rest of the game's cast as the crazy person is like genuinely infuriating. And I want to hope that it's meta commentary, but it kind of crushed what I thought was like a pretty good story up until that point. So I really hope it's meta commentary of what is the timeline for the Darkest Day of him saying we're gonna like the Darkest Day is it 500 years? Like where he's like we really need this stuff because it's gonna the Dynamax power like it's only gonna last another 500 years.
I don't remember.
Do you know what I'm talking about though? Like his big play is he's like we need an alternative energy source for this time period down the road, and everyone's like that's crazy, that'll never happen. There's never everyone it really just rang of like climate change denial from the entire Galar region. And Chairman Rose has this very sophisticated point of like, yeah, we're actually using like the Pokemon equivalent of magic gigantifying oil, and it's actually not sustainable. And like the region is gonna cease to have infrastructure a really long time from now. Like maybe we could do something about that today so that they don't have to suffer. And it's not, they actually like, oh, he's not bad for the sake of that. He's bad because like, oh, it's crazy to worry about things that far in the future. Like you're being so much, Chairman Rose. You're worrying about like oh my goodness, this guy, like it's always something with this guy. And I mean, I was like 20 something, a young 20. No, I was like 19, 20, 21 territory playing Sword and Shield. Mm-hmm. And like, I thought I was being pranked by that end of the story. I was like, what? But I didn't know any of that about the Dynamax stuff. I'm a child. Mm. And everyone is like, they're kind of softly corroborate. Like, no one is disagreeing with him about the Dynamax thing being unsustainable. They're just like, no, we're gonna we'll deal with it. Dynamax power is awesome. Sounded very similar to like, no, coal is awesome. Haven't you ever seen a train? We'll figure it out. Like nothing like that is ever gonna happen.
I was thinking, I guess, specifically about Team Yell and how kind of nothing they are.
They're everything.
Okay.
Don't do this to me about Sword and Shield, please.
Well,
please.
I don't know.
Please. That's another diatribe.
I didn't buy into the whole Team Yell thing, and then that just incredible cutscene of Pierce performing in silence is one of the greatest of all time.
That's really, really bad. I just listen. You brought up Team Yell. I gotta give my Team Yell defense.
Okay, please.
One of a couple Team Yell fans. So we're gonna get into some socioeconomic policy here with Team Yell and why I mean this makes Pokemon games great for me. Like I've been thinking about this as like, am I gonna be crazy if I say this? Like people gonna call me crazy, but like. It's looking like it's Sword and Shield for me. It's my last great Pokemon game. Like I've been thinking about everything you're telling me, and it's like, oh my god, this game is great. This game is at like it's all the things that I say I want, and you know we can whine and complain about it, and then I go play it and it's like, oh, it has all the things I said I wanted. This is awesome.
Okay,
this is amazing. This is cool. The only negative point as of right now is, and I don't know, does this even have a place in the discussion? Is having to pay for my post game. The DLC,
sure.
Blech, don't love that.
Let's assume the DLC is not included. because you had levied the point at Arceus earlier that it didn't have the post game at launch.
Exactly. That's my one bleh about Sword and Shield. But like as a Pokemon game, I think I'm thinking right now. We're not done talking. My brain is in motion. I think it's pretty great. I think it's a great Pokemon game.
I have a question for you.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Is it fair for us to equate games like Emerald, Platinum, basically like all of the like third games that I think had they been released in modern times, they probably just would have been DLC, right? Like should instead those games almost be like cordoned off to their own like column, and then like we should only really be like, if we're ever sort of comparing games against each other, like it should never be Emerald against Sword and Shield. It should only be Ruby and Sapphire against Sword and Shield. This is like a complete like side tangent.
Well, no, I'm totally with you because I feel like this makes all of my points stronger.
Okay, great.
I'm with you because I think this makes me sound better, and that's a great point. And as the world's strongest X and Y defender, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And I think it's completely unfair that they ever dared compare X and Y to Emerald. But you know, I digress from my digress.
So you were saying that Sword and Shield kind of ticks all the boxes for you, as far as this sort of question is concerned.
It does. Okay. It does. And like this is ridiculous, but the reason but I really just am desperate to share it with anybody that'll listen.
Please.
But I like it when it means something. I like it when it means something a lot. And I think it's not that it's unsubstantial. At the beginning, like Fire Red and Leaf Green. Look at me showing my true colors. Gen 1, Gen 2, like what does it mean? What were the themes? What were the ideals? What was the justice of the characters? Like stuff like that is like, does that really even exist? Like in the stories, like these are cartoon bad guys. They're animal traffickers in Animal World, and we got to stop them. Like the story's not deep, I guess, but that doesn't mean that you can't not find meaning in it, or that it's like, I don't know, it almost that I'm coping a little bit with Sword and Shield, that it's like self-defeating in any way, because like I think you could definitely take like, you could really overanalyze Gen 1, for instance, as like, I don't know, there's like the importance of, and also maybe like questions about what does preservation mean in the context of this world. We've got the Safari Zone, for instance, raises some questions. The Safari Zone juxtaposed with what Team Rocket does raises some questions about what does preservation mean in a world like this. And you can really, really sink into something that maybe even isn't there at all in the context of the authors, but there's enough. I don't know, I hate to say world again because I talked so much about that last time, but like there are things to analyze. So that kind of skeletal structure, that maybe the rush of the boss rush, as it were, you know, I like that a little bit less. But if we're gonna have a story at all, then there should just be pieces in it. There should be pieces in it that aren't in conflict with each other. Oh, cohesion. I'm talking about cohesion. So to my point, oh my goodness, I gotta get this one out. This one, the people of planet Earth, they gotta hear this one, because I heard this from a friend, and then we talked about it more. Team Yell, like, what a team, what a gem, what a diamond in the rough Team Yell is. It really is. Don't laugh at me about Team Yell.
You really gotta sell me, I think, on this.
Okay, so this is maybe a very American phenomenon.
Okay.
So maybe not for all audiences, but something that I think Team Yell highlights extremely well, and it's ultimately like, oh, Team Yell really wasn't the bad guys. They were like rowdy sports fans, but they call them a team, and Pokemon expectation leads you to believe that it's like, oh, these are the bad guys, and you fight them like grunts and stuff. But I feel like when you get to, because at the beginning of the game they tell you that, and Piers isn't even there when all the gym leaders show up at the beginning of the game, and they tell you that I don't know when you're actually clued in on this information, but all of the towns with gym leaders except for one have a power spot. They have a Dynamax layer or whatever it is, and all the towns are awesome. And then you go to Spikemouth, and it is gross. It is disgusting, and it is dark. But strangely, contrasted with this, they have the most like vibrant and energetic population out of the whole country, which is so interesting. They are so excited for Marnie. They are excited for Marnie. Team Yellow is all about Marnie. They are rabid Marnie fans. And this is something that you see in American sports specifically, is a town that is of lower socioeconomic standing. They are like, I don't know, more like below middle class, poor people living there. It's not the throes of poverty or anything, but like these are a tread upon people. For instance, they will often gravitate more strongly and more harshly to some sort of cohesive identity, like a sports team, or, and even better, if they get one of this, like on that sports team, if a hero appears, and this is like a community identity for this community that is, for the most part, down on their luck, very much like Spikemouth is. And like, I don't know, I almost feel like it's like the human condition is on such display for me, as like this terrible, disgusting town. But Team Yell, they are the most excited people in all of Galar, because Marnie is their shining hope. Marnie is the thing that could get them out of this terrible situation. They all have this powerful thing to rally around. Marnie is going around. She is going to put Spikemouth on the map. And for that reason, we fight. For that reason, we are excited about life and Pokemon and battling. And this is awesome, because we have this group identity to rally around. And I felt like that was like, and once this is all outlined for me, it's like, oh my gosh, that's powerfully on display, because it doesn't look great in Spikemouth. Things are not looking good in this town, but these are a passionate people who have rallied around something that is like, it doesn't just mean something to them, it's like an escape from their lower class designation. And the reason why I mentioned the thing at the beginning is Spikeman didn't earn that. Also, Team Yell didn't earn that, and they like, this just happens to be the town that a meteor didn't land at. Like, that's not fair. That's not fair for the rest of the country to just treat them like shit because 8 meteors or 7 meteors landed around the country and they didn't get one. And it's like I find rebellion very human. Like a spiritual rebellion, and I see this fully as that. If you think that Team Yell is the evil team of Sword and Shield, and you're comparing them to other evil teams from Pokemon games, you are. I fear that the curtains might be blue for you if that is the case. And if you don't know what I mean, then I fear the curtains are blue, and that's what I've got to say about Team Yell. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. You ever heard that one before?
I haven't. No, that's a fresh take on Team Yell for me. I really appreciate the sentiment. I still don't care for Team Yell, I fear.
Hey, that's fine.
I do appreciate like Spikemouth as a place. And kind of like the reveal for Team Yell at that point, I like that, but I don't know. By and large, they're not my favorite team. I feel similarly about Team Star, and I know like Team Star is like, there's like a similar thing with Team Star where they're like,
people actually get mad at you. Like, it won't just be me getting mad at you about Team Star. Like all the what is his name, like Gazpacho fans are gonna come out of the woodwork to tell you that Team Star is actually amazing.
That's fine. I really like that each of the leaders of each of the bases of Team Star is like a fellow student, and they were all bullied. Like, all of that is great storytelling. Again, I think it, like, broadly speaking, they're like main ideas of these games and the teams, I guess, like, they're pretty good. I just don't know that they always like stick the landing, like, on the in-betweens, for me at least. I think particularly, like, mechanically, when you actually do the not the boss fight against their, like, Revavroom car thingy, even though those are, like, cheating. But the like,
flag on the play. The evil team is cheating.
the like mini game,
Call the authorities.
that you send out your Pokemon to auto battle against.
Oh yeah, that one's fun.
That's nothing. No, I disagree. I wholeheartedly disagree. That's one of the worst parts of Scarlet and Violet.
I had so much fun doing that with my dad. My dad was really into that.
Okay.
Like, this is awesome. Yeah, just interesting how these things happen to us and bring us together.
I thought it was a huge waste of time. I didn't think
I'll tell my dad that you thought so.
Okay, please.
Tell him that
you
said...
You said he was listening, so he'll...
I hope so.
He can hear it from the horse's mouth.
He thought that Sun and Moon was great, but the girl in the hat talked too much, and...
That's my favorite review of Sun and Moon that I've ever heard, because it's
I feel like it's
perfect.
Highly descriptive to what we're talking about now, though.
Yeah.
Like, it is why I bring it back.
Sun and Moon is...
But the waste of time, if you will.
Completely. Sun and Moon is really hard for me to, like, get through. I think I mentioned a long time ago on this podcast that I was playing through Moon. I was doing a mono ghost team in Moon. I haven't touched it, Droomish. Like, since I last mentioned it in one of our, like, what have you been up to lately sections at the top of the show. I haven't.
This is months ago, because I do not remember. There's like a faint, vague memory, and now I'm like, you're playing Sun and Moon, like,
right? I haven't touched it. I have little to no desire to go back to Moon, unfortunately, just because I know how much, like, extra fluff I'm gonna have to sit through just to get from one fight to the next. And as much as I really like my ghost type team that I've got going in that game. I don't know. I feel like there are, like, if I'm looking to play a Pokemon game, I would like to play one that actually lets me play Pokemon, and that, like, if I wanted to read, I would read. I would go read a book. You know what I mean?
I love reading. I love reading in a Pokemon game. You found the one that I desire reading in my Pokemon games.
Okay.
I feel like I've been, like, going around on, like I don't know, like, Twitch or something. Like, I barely know. Well, I mean, they're cool. I made friends with someone recently, and they were like, y'all, Droomish's analysis on, like, dialogue and NPCs in Pokemon games is actually life changing, and it makes me want to, like, it makes me love these games, and I'm, like, thinking about loving these games, and I just can't get enough of the literature, big finger quotes around literature, when it's like, it's I mean, I feel like you sent me that. No, it was Solerva sent me that, where it's like, in the literature that I'm talking about is a guy in an empty house, and he says, "Hey, my name's Bucket Hat Benson. I love bucket hats. This is my ball toy," and and I'm like, wow, this is really something. This is really, really, really something.
But that's the difference with that. The difference between
what is the difference?
The difference between Lily and Bucket Hat Benson is like a nice surprise that you encounter, and Lily is this like I don't know, like chewy pork chop shoved down your throat that you just gotta, like,
oh yeah,
it's gonna be in your mouth for you gotta chew for like a while.
Another thing about my dad, he likes that steak rare. Like, he's cooking rare steaks when I was like 8. Like, oh my god, like, it's a chewy pork chop. I agree with the metaphor. I completely agree. Well, that is such an interesting point, because and so this is something I didn't think that I would get here. And actually, this is detracting from Sword and Shield for me. This has moved the goalpost to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon slightly. What you just said. Actually, I don't know. It might even be moving the goalpost to the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
So going into this, that's what I assumed your answer would be, for what it's worth.
I love those games.
I know you do.
Folks, don't let the cringe inside of you win. Just have fun. Like well, don't deny yourself whimsical, like, primal pleasure because something is cringe.
What is cringe about Let's Go?
I mean, I don't know. It's like silly baby Kanto again, and it's for babies, and you throw Pokeballs with the Joy-Cons, and it's unbelievably easy. I'm not going to deny, but I love you. Let's go, Eevee and Pikachu. Mm-hmm. Let's be special friends for the rest of time. But to your great point that you just made me consider is that, like, I fully think that when you say, let's talk about the story of Pokemon games, Bucket Hat Benson is on my mind. It's like that story, that's ambient storytelling. Mm-hmm. Because, like, yeah, sure, Team Galactic, that's really interesting. The saga, if you will, like, oh, I'm fascinated, but, like, oh man, there's a story being told in Sinnoh. How great is that? Mm. Like, the people of this country are, they're communicating with me on a deep, impersonal level through their ambient remarks. I get one exchange with this guy, and I don't know, I'm gonna have to dig pretty deep when it comes to Bucket Hat Benson. But this is a guy who cares, like, deeply. We've got a guy in this country who cares deeply about, like, I don't know, maybe there's, like, elements of fashion here where fashion is a statement. Like, fashion is like, to one's identity, or it's just like the little things in life, like the shorts guy. I like shorts. Like, that's whatever the opposite of nihilism is that's what the shorts guy mm-hmm. is doing. Like, I like shorts, they're comfy and easy to wear. It's like, what a wonderful worldly pleasure that you have. That's great. Mm-hmm. I imagine that you go outside and can maybe cry tears of joy just because it's a cloudy day. Like, there's wispy clouds in the sky. Like, this is my story. This is I'm really, like, I obviously this stuff gets me really excited, as you might be able to tell from my many videos about it. But, like, this is story. This is my novelization. And I know these are not the same thing, but, like, when people say story, I'm like, well, like, what's the difference between these two things? Like, I'm either learning about Lily or I'm learning about Bucket Hat Benson. I'm happy either way. This is great. I mean, Lily's maybe doing a little bit of telling instead of showing. Mm-hmm. Lily, maybe you want to take the hat off instead of tell me how you're taking the hat off. Mm-hmm. But it's small potatoes ultimately. I like hearing about people. I like hearing about the world. So, and from what you were saying, and I don't think that you, like, disagree with the merits of what I'm saying, but it's maybe more that they have, like, that thing in Final Fantasy XIV, like the main quest. There are things going on at the same time, but you have a through line of the MSQ, as it will, the main story quest. And I imagine that's what most people mean. This is the thing that we're ambivalently referring to. Team Galactic is the main story quest, mm-hmm. right? Like, this stuff is main story quest. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, I think, well, no, it's my great game, and I'm unseparating those two things, but I am knowing what your communication means, but having my own values and ideals about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think I agree, like in separation of these two things, I agree with you on both cases, but I would never separate these two things in the way that my consumption works. Mm-hmm.
So, you're sticking with Sword and Shield, is what you're saying?
I'm not sticking with Sword and Shield. I think it's gotta be, there is so much ambient storytelling And now that we're talking about story, I mean, there's a lot of that in Sword and Shield. Oh, I mean, and you got me on like the everything that is good is 10 situation again, but like the ambient storytelling in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Oh, I mean, it was a very environmental game, and they paid such close attention to that. And it's those are environments, Droomish, but like not for me. Everything is story. Everything like this is we are compelled to tell stories in unusual ways. So,
and why the Ultra games and not base Sun and Moon? Maybe that's a loaded question, but
maybe indeed. Oh, I mean, how much
time do we have?
Like this is like big tangent number 4 or something. Like let's keep this one simple.
Okay.
I think one note that immediately comes to mind with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon versus Sun and Moon is and maybe this was just the second version or the deluxe version in whatever form that may take, the DLC as we're comparing it to. I don't know. So maybe this isn't fair because we have leveraged the DLC point also. Maybe I have to, by my own virtue, have to go back to Sword and Shield. But I'm not going to say it's Sun and Moon. I'm not going to say it's damn Sun and Moon. But as far as maybe my emblem of what is, oh, this is so great. What is so great is when I think of Ultra Sun and Moon, I think of the showing, not telling that occurs with the Ultra Beasts. The Ultra Beasts are, for me, I think maybe the most fascinating concept, most fascinating pillar that they have ever introduced in all of Pokemon. It is so interesting. It is so interesting to have a concept that has gone on long enough where we can introduce aliens to that concept they're like dimensional aliens. It's not like Deoxys or Clefairy. Like they look like Pokemon. Sorry, like Deoxys is a little scary. Deoxys. If I saw Deoxys, yeah, I would shit my pants. Like I'm not gonna pretend that Deoxys is not scary. Like it has like I don't know, like the evil saber mask kind of like.
Yeah.
If Deoxys showed up, I would cry.
Sure.
Like it is scary, but it still looks Pokemon.
Yes.
Right. So
Celesteela does not look Pokemon.
Celesteela isn't exactly, and so there was already some visual storytelling going on there. So the concept is so fascinating. But in Sun and Moon, it's kind of just you're told. You're told in so many ways. It's very much pushed in your face. You do get to see Nihilego's ultra wormhole dimension, and it's like it's the ultra deep sea, and it's all nasty and or it's not nasty and gross, but it's like it's very noir in there. And Lusamine does the communion with the Nihilego. That's pretty interesting. But the other ones are just like, bam, we are aliens. We're gonna kill you. Like that's kind of how the rest of it is. But I'm drawn to an Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Oh, you actually get to go in the portal and like, don't tell me about these guys. Don't jump on me, Kartana. Let me see your house. Like, where do you live? What's it like over there? And what is that environment going to tell me about what type of creature you are? And Kartana comes from a place where there's people. Like there are. I mean, maybe humanoids. There's like the ultra. They had a Pokemon card for it. Why did they make a Pokemon card of the NPCs that speak the Kartana language in the Kartana dimension? They're like the Ultra Space Kartenvoy. That's what they called this in the TCG. So they have an actually name, but they like speak this indecipherable glyph language when you talk to them. And there's these like forest clearings going on, and I completely enthralled. It's stuff like this that like this is such a big piece of why Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are in my top 3. They are fully in my top 3. I think actually like what you're saying is Sun and Moon actively detracts from itself through a lot of things, and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, in my opinion, have enough breakpoints of interesting activities where I do feel like it's like, oh, like the monotony gets broken so hard. And I have so much fun meandering through Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, but the environments will always peak in Alola. I think the Alola defenders will always come to the aid of the environments, and that's just a really, really big deal for me. But when you introduce something so compelling as an alien, and then you don't show like the alien's business in a meaningful way, well, that's just a missed opportunity. That's just like fully making it's fully detracting from itself. So, and I mean, I think that the best one of all is the Guzzlord mini story, where it's like, oh my gosh, this place is good. There's a Guzzlord, like Guzzlord actually does the thing that they said Guzzlord does, and they're showing it to me. Like, it's not just a Pokédex entry. Oh my god, Guzzlord destroyed this town, and then you get to the end of the town, and it's Melee City from another dimension, and like that blew my mind. What an unbelievable, like, there's so many implications. There's just it's oh my goodness. Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, through that ambient breakpointing, they show, and they show. I don't know. I mean, they still tell a lot. Like, there's difference between showing and telling. But oh my goodness, do they show? Do they show? And that means the world to me.
Okay.
That's the answer to your question. We did, yeah. Tangent number 4. I like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon for that reason.
Cool.
And maybe they're my last greats. Sword and Shield.
So yeah, if you're saying Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, then you're sort of saying
I know.
everything released on the Switch. Maybe not as much. And listen, if that's your take, that's your take. That's fine.
I mean, that adventure and out of this world quality, that X factor, like, it would defeat the point if it was in every Pokemon game. But I want it. I want that feeling every time. And so I'm again to my own personal, very indulgent tastes, going to change the goalposts again. And it's like for me, those games are the height of adventure, and I want that. Like when I like that's what I'm hoping for in every Pokemon game. So
I feel like
Sword and Shield, fun. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, adventurous, mysterious, wonderful. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Now that was great. That was great.
I feel like we kind of sang the praises of each of our games like in a similar way, where we were both like, we wanted like an adventure going in, and then that happened. You know?
Oh yeah.
I think like with some of these other games, whether it's something that we've kind of done already in the case of like a Let's Go game, as much as the presentation of that game is great and it is very cute, it is something that we've kind of done before, right? And we can say that basically about every single remake. And I don't know, they're tricky because, like, again, not everyone has played every Pokemon game. Like, my partner's first Pokemon game was Let's Go Eevee, and she had never played any Pokemon game before, but specifically she had never played a Kanto game before. So Let's Go is actually her first foray through the Kanto region. And I imagine if she played through in Red, Blue, Yellow or Fire, Leaf, Green, she probably wouldn't have as fun of a time through the Kanto region in those older games, because the presentation is not at the same level as it is in the Let's Go games.
Yeah, remakes are tough. I almost want to like exclude them entirely, like from this diagnosis, because that is just, I mean, not from my own diagnosis, but it's a really unfair assessment ultimately at the end of the day, because that is such a product of when you played it, like, or the order that you played it in, or if it was like, I mean, if this exactly like if this is my second time watching the movie's gonna have to be they're gonna have to make pretty big changes to and that's probably not happening like in such ages. And maybe I don't know. I'd be inclined to join them. Maybe it's like that is the power of Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Of like, oh my god, I'm on my hands and knees. Like, like this is. I mean, it's hardly a remake as it is a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can and have done that. Like those that's a significantly different thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Really, like and Heart Gold and Soul Silver is probably worth playing just as much as Crystal is. Probably. I don't. I think I know people who would say that. I don't know if I would say it, but like. And I would say that Emerald is worth playing, just like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which you can hear all about on that one episode that we did about it, because I'm right. And so. Remakes are in a complicated box. Mm-hmm. I think they probably shouldn't be in the running. There's like merits to discussing them, mm-hmm. but it's probably detractive to the communication that you're trying to get across. If it's like you're asking me what was your last great Pokemon game, and I tell you a remake, and it's like, well, that doesn't. We're not like
sure,
because we're not having a jam session as much.
Yeah, that's based on something that like also was made and then had the benefit of hindsight and just other I don't know, technological advances, you know, all of these things that lead to modern remakes of games often being like the definitive way to play a game. Not always. I think Diamond and Pearl are a better way to play through
Diamond and Pearl
BDSP.
Are pretty great games. We should play those.
I mean, you're
price
playing,
of Diamond and Pearl. You're not gone up drastically. What?
You're playing through Platinum right now, so you're on that
slowly but surely.
Yeah, you're in.
Yes,
you're in Sinnoh.
And I think it's great.
And then, sort of to that point, I guess, is like Legends Arceus is not a remake, but it is like based on an area that is like familiar, at least in like name. And I know like you're thinking like, well, you know, Sinnoh and Hisui are different, but I'm just thinking like has the benefit of having familiar locations like Jubilife or Mount Coronet or whatever. That even like things like that and that amount of familiarity with the thing, instead of it being a full remake, it almost feels like cameos, and that is especially true for like the remixed like trainer designs in that game. I mean, as well.
It's a prequel, like it's a love letter to those fans. It's a full on prequel to Diamond and Pearl.
It has the added benefit of like I am going to like appreciate aspects of this game having already played through not just Gen 4 but also like basically the rest of this series, and it's gonna show me characters that I recognize who are, again, they're like remixes of like existing people, and even it's gonna like send Ingo back in time also, and like I don't know how many people recognize.
Look, there's
Ingo.
there's big Ingo fandom out there.
Was there before? I guess I don't know. How many people did the battle subway?
Listen, I just feel like this is a hard one to get across. I don't know any other way to describe this one.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean this with so much love in my heart. Like, I have so much love in my heart for you. If this is the case for you, I mean this so positively. Ingo seems to be like one of those Final Fantasy characters. Mm-hmm. Like, bisexual women love Ingo. I'm just gonna say it. Like, he's one of those guys, and I get it. Also, like, but that just seems to be a common, a common enough thing that I have noticed.
Fair.
And they're right.
Fair.
I don't know, like Sephiroth or something. He's not, Sephiroth, but
sure.
I'm mincing hairs, but you don't know. Do you understand the
No,
the essence that I'm talking about?
I hadn't considered that perspective, and that's on me. So thank you for bringing that to my attention.
I hear things on the grapevine, but Ingo fans are abounding.
Anyway, so
it's like I don't know. I think of Marvel movies with that, like exactly to your point, right? Like
where you're watching a movie and then a character that you recognize walks in and you go, "I know that guy," and that just
exactly
that just like artificially like increases your opinion of the movie for some reason.
Yeah, like that made me happy, and maybe that bleeds over to my enjoyment of the movie, which was the case in Arceus. It was a twist character, unfortunately. I feel like I can't say this one. Spoilers for Legends Arceus. Like, I want to describe this point in depth. It's not a big spoiler, but skip, like, I don't know, like a minute ahead or something. When the food guy reveals that he's bad at the end, and that he is definitely inspired by the bug guy from Diamond and Pearl, that made me pog hard. Like when he like fights you in the tunnel, and up until that point he's been wearing like a ninja mask and a ninja hood, and then he takes it off and he is essentially an exact lookalike of. I mean, and he's like a nothing character in Diamond and Pearl. He gets so little devoted to him. That Elite Four is like really, really underdeveloped. You know that they're cool and they're powerful, but like, do you even know what his name is?
Aaron.
Okay, I had to search for that one in my mind palace. But like, I don't know anything about Aaron. He's the bug guy, and he wears a tank top, and he has cool hair, and he has a cool design. And so like to see that is because I just seeing his design, I was like, whoa, I know that guy. I did the Leonardo DiCaprio point. I said I don't know much about him, but I know that guy, and he was hiding in plain sight. He's like a ninja. He's a descendant of ninjas. That's a lot of context for that character, because it's like, I don't know, like I can see a world in which Yen Mega is connected to ninjas.
Sure.
And I wouldn't have put that together beforehand, but now I do, and I think it's really cool. So, yeah, is this a point? Is this whole thing that we're talking about a point for or against Arceus as like a great game, because it kind of relies on you being a Pokemon not just fan, but like you've played a lot of games, and you've been around the block, and so you know all this stuff. So, but I've heard a lot of people enjoy it as their first. Like it's it's definitely not. It just makes it even better.
Yeah, I mean, one of my friends who he likes Pokemon, but he definitely doesn't play it as much as you and I would. But his favorite Pokemon
normal amount, by the way, really normal.
His favorite Pokemon game is Legends Arceus, because it is more action RPG oriented, and he's used to playing those games. But he'll also he loves Heart Gold because he loves Cyndaquil. So I don't know. You can have both. It is both for and against, I guess, but specifically it is for me, and I think seeing cameos and having this series wide continuity is a plus, and it is something
absolutely
that I am a sucker for every time that it happens.
Well, it's I think it is plainly good. Like it is. So I don't know. Maybe the judgment becomes unfair when you're looking at like the earliest games, like Gens 1, 2, and 3. But like we have to appreciate that Pokemon is the series that it is. But and I feel like I've been
even Gen 2. Like Gen 2's whole selling point, honestly, is the continuity.
Remember Gen 1? Like,
yeah. Don't you want to go back? We know you just did it a year ago. Don't you want to go back?
And I feel like I've been saying this in my videos a lot, that it's very charming and ideal when Pokemon remembers where it came from. So I think it's wholly positive.
Yeah, it's a boon for me. I don't know if that. I don't know if that would be the case like across the board for folks, but
hey, this is your great game.
Yeah, I think I'm sticking.
I think it's empiric also.
I'm sticking with Legends Arceus. That was what I had in mind going into this. I haven't been swayed, I don't think. But if I may give an honorable mention for what it's worth to new Pokemon Snap, I think that game is gorgeous. I know.
It's fine.
Did you see that one coming?
I guess now I do, but this just does sound like you. It is gorgeous.
I think the beautiful thing about new Pokemon Snap is just that it actually shows Pokemon in their natural environment, when so often the routes you take in between cities are still, I don't know, they're still like, they still need to function as like roads and highways and stuff for humans. So it is nice, I think, in also in old Snap, but I think particularly new Snap is just like a really gorgeous looking game. And yeah, I think there's just was a lot of care put into the animations and the what's the word I'm looking for? Just the way that the Pokemon like act, I guess, in their natural environment is very nice.
Ambience.
So, yeah,
effective here.
Absolutely. So for a different reason, I guess, new Pokemon Snap is an honorable mention, but it's only an honorable mention, I think, because it's a spinoff, and I feel like if we started to include spinoffs, like we could fucking throw Pokemon Tournament in here.
We could go on and on. I mean, will fully. Sure, that one's my honorable mention. It really is that game. I don't have another hour to talk about this game, but you don't either, dear listener. I've done enough.
Yeah, I think like
it's completely. Oh, it's so that one's great. That was they reinvented the wheel, and oh my god, did they do that?
Yeah, similar to our previous episode about Dustox and whether or not it's any good. And again, if you haven't listened to it, before I say what I'm about to say, you should go listen to it. But I think the main takeaway is obviously this is a very subjective thing, and the things that, like we were, talking earlier about, like everyone has a different ideal Pokemon game, and everyone has different things that they're looking for or looking from a Pokemon game or looking to get out of a Pokemon game, and you get to decide what you interface with. I guess it kind of depends on like how like feature rich and lore rich and world rich the game is, to basically like allow you, the player, to interface with it as much or as little as you want, but assuming it's as much as you want, that the game like provides that for you. And I think that's when a game succeeds the most, is when it kind of allows you to like be a person in its world.
And I think, while these are like, it's so subjective also, and I don't necessarily think this is like really even a criticism that's happening, but just to straw man myself, it's like, like why is this podcast and like this kind of like scope talking about this thing, and why I think that it's so good too, despite how subjective it is that, like, I mean, like many games, but Pokemon really has this power, is like yeah, you play the game by yourself, but it's a thing that happens with other people. And so like, while that subjectivity is so at the forefront of this, it's like I would say that maybe even more than just like having a favorite Pokemon, because like that's something that is just like, like everybody got a favorite. Like I feel like one thing that I do, I guess always value about this community is like there is like a certain law and rule set about like, yeah, everybody gets the favorite Pokemon. Like even
even if it's Bruxish.
Even if it's Bruxish, it's like yeah, we give credence about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like favorite Pokemon is just something that you totally get. You don't really owe anybody anything about why your favorite Pokemon is just the way it is. I like it. It is like that's awesome. That's awesome that you like Watchog or Vanillish or Pomo or whatever. Like, and so like communication will happen, but like the games as like items, the games as objects, and the way that we consume them, I do think, even though they are single player games, ultimately becomes like cosmically multiplayer because I don't. Pokemon is just best with friends. Like it always happens. I get excited every new game, mainly because my friends are going to play it too, or I'm going to be able to talk about it with other people, and I'm going to be able to consider this thing. I mean, it's a very ripe for book club. Like book club is bound to happen when it comes to Pokemon. So like, and this conversation, I suppose, as it was, is like the pillar of what the game is I think very, very human, like very, very revolving around the game, like expectation setting is like, what does the community think the game should be? That's I always find that like probably the most fascinating part is like, because the discourse is always discoursing, of course, but that doesn't have anything to do with the games. The games just like, and it's such a, like they're so fascinating as art pieces because the games are just games. The games will always just be games. The games are what they are, and all of that when it comes to their quality that's just me and you. That the game didn't have anything to do with that. We have agreed upon certain expectations. We've agreed upon certain metrics and empiricisms, and that defines what we want even for the next game to be. And this chain of communication, I just find it so interesting. And like, so while like it's like obviously you just get to like things, and what I'm saying is just like, oh, you just get to like that thing, but like it's such a big thing in games. Like the reason, like I have questioned before, why do genres exist? Like, why wouldn't I just try to describe the game? But it's like, that's because games are ultimately a social activity. I tell you that it's an RPG because I want you to understand what you go through in the game and what I went through in the game. So I think this question has a lot of cosmic importance to it. And it's a big one.
It's
for,
a big
for
one.
any game.
Yep. I'm very interested
and it's more
to see...
than just...
Sorry?
It's... Oh, no, you're good. It's more than just, like, that personal preference that you get to have. Even, and it's like you do, but this expectation setting, I think, matters more than maybe anything else in the realm to do with it. Like, what you think is supposed to happen is actually a really big deal when you're in a community. And that's my 2 cents on the matter.
Yeah. That's a good 2 cents.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how our listeners answer this question, this lofty question. I'm interested to see. I'm assuming perhaps some arguments pro Scarlet Violet. Maybe you can persuade me. Maybe I'm not giving those games enough credit. Maybe you're gonna go way far back. Maybe you're like, nah, the last great game actually Heart Gold Soul Silver. Maybe you're gonna go even further back. Last great game, Pokemon Yellow. Maybe you're not even gonna go mainline. Maybe you're gonna go last great Pokemon game, actually Pinball Ruby and Sapphire. And
that's a great game.
You're both wrong, and everyone is wrong, and I'm the only one who's correct, and it's actually Pinball Ruby and Sapphire. Stay mad. Anyway, yeah, I'm interested to see how y'all answer the question.
And it's just last little nitpick. I do not need a new console called the Switch 2 for a game to be great before you say Scarlet and Violet.
Right.
Just,
like,
I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it.
If it's only great at 60 frames per second, then it was never great to begin with.
Yeah, tough break for...
Yeah, sorry.
Tough break.
Hate to break it to you.
I'm so glad you're having fun with your new console. This is not about that. It's about art. It's about the purity of art, okay? God. All right, so your final answer is Arceus and a nod to Snap. Well, I feel like it would almost be unfair for me to say Pokken because I didn't really explain why I like it so much, although I do. But I think my final answer right now, life changes though, but right now it's Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon with a nod to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. That is my conclusion. And you did move you moved me. My answer changed twice over the course of this because first it was going to be Arceus. And then you made me realize stuff to do with expectation settings about what I thought the game was supposed to be. And then I thought it was going to be Sword and Shield. And then you made me realize stuff to do with what a story means to me. And now it's Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And that's the game, folks. It's Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
And you know what the most important part about that is that you have the open-mindedness to be malleable, you know? You can like you could have a different answer about this tomorrow, and that doesn't mean that
love listening and learning.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that like your answer now is any less real or whatever. Just
I kept thinking.
Yeah, you can just like you can have different favorites that can change, and you know. I also, you know what? You could say Pokken, and you wouldn't. You could just say, because you like Pokken, and that would be enough. You know.
We'll do a Pokken episode someday.
I have
a lot to say.
I need to play Pokken.
Okay.
First,
well, we have to do that first.
Yeah.
It's a good game. Yeah. I like fighting the Pokemon.
It looks phenomenal, but
it's fun.
I fear I'm no good at fighting games, and so even with Pokken, I look at it and I go, I bet that's a lot of fun, but I think I'd be dog shit at it, so.
Damn. Well.
But that's for the future.
Yeah. We'll get you there.
Okay.
We'll get you there. All right, folks. That's all we've got for you this time. Petalburg Woods, we made it to the end. Join us next time when I'm super excited for this one when we talk about the Johto situation and how crazy it is. The Johto situation is crazy.
We didn't really dig into Johto much, and whether or not Johto is great. So
the Johto situation is crazy.
The Johto situation is crazy.
I feel like we kind of talked around it actually, which is like so lead into our next outing. The Johto situation is crazy, though. To quote the wise words of Moise.
Moise critical.
Until then, you can find us outside of the forest too. Check in with us on our socials. I'm Droomish on YouTube, and we're both streaming on Twitch at Droomish_ and at Capreo. Are you still _? Capreo underscore?
The underscore is alive and well.
The underscores are alive and well. Let us know what you thought of the show. Please leave us a review. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment. Please answer with your last great game. I mean, if you're still listening to me now, if you didn't already jump in, but please, we would really, really like to know. Just like discussing this stuff, and like the video, and subscribe, and do all the good YouTube stuff because we really appreciate it. As always, leave your repels at home, and we will see you next time on Petalburg Woods. Bye.
See you, folks.
Petalburg Woods is hosted by Droomish and Capreo and produced by Girl Luigi. The theme music is by Capreo, and additional artwork is by Mo Paint Stuff. Let us know where you'd like to visit in the Pokémon Universe next. Email us at petalburgpod@gmail.com. Join us next time in Petalburg Woods to explore OG Hoenn versus the Hoenn remakes. And until then, leave your super repels at home and come visit us in the Petalburg Woods. See ya!